Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I'm here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about Birds of Prey again.
Oh, because it just keeps getting better and better, guys.
It keeps getting better and better because what we predicted would happen has happened. We predicted that come Monday morning after the movie bombs, men are going to be blamed for this movie failing. And sure enough, it's happening.
Right. Never mind that women didn't go see it either. I think more men actually went to see it than women. That doesn't matter. It's all men's fault.
It's all men's fault. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Rotten Tomatoes audience scores and some weirdness there. We're going to talk about some of these media outlets, including comic book resources, blaming men. We've got this article here, Birds of Prey, why do some men not like the movie? And they blame the pictures of the empty theaters posted by men for why the theaters were empty, which is
Wait, so
a paradox.
Why do some men not like the movie? I don't know. Why do any gender not like certain movies? Why do some women don't like Captain Marvel? I mean, you know, you can say that for any movie. I mean, come on.
Yeah, it's going to be the blame game, and it just kind of puts salt in the wound, I guess, and we're going to talk a little bit about that, too, that Joker last night, Joaquin Phoenix won for Best Actor. Joker broke $1 billion at the box office. And I guarantee you there will be months and months and months of hand-wringing over why Joker succeeded and Birds of Prey did not.
I know why. It's called people are sick and tired of the quote-unquote tastemakers in the media telling them what they should and shouldn't watch, telling them they're bad people if they don't agree, and they're just sick of it. So you tell them something sucks and you shouldn't go see it, they're guaranteed to go see it. You wanted Birds of Prey to do well? You should have gone, oh, don't go see Birds of Prey. Don't go see it because, you know, whatever reason. But if you tell people not to go see it because they'll go see it because they know that you're full of shit. So there you go.
We're going to talk about that bucket full of shit, I guess, in this episode. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We're almost 100,000, guys. Thank you for the support. And for those of you who get tired of us asking for subs, don't sub. It's as simple as that.
Plug your ears and go, la, 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 la.
Cobra, la, 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 la. So before we get into talking about the Birds of Prey debacle, let's talk about this tweet. Let's talk about Joker. And Joker did win last night for Best Actor and also Best Musical Score. And you put the tweet out there because a lot of people did not realize the composer was a woman.
Including us. Not that it really matters.
I didn't know.
Because it was about the work, not about what's between your legs. Actually, it was Weaponized Nerd Rage posted about it first. And here's the comment. When Joker won Best Original Score, when I thought the composer was a woman, and then he's like, imagine how the composer would respond if you go with them and say, I hate your work. Oh, you're a woman? I love your work. And then I said, this sums it up. It sucks till I found out it was a woman. Then suddenly it's okay. So the gender, not the work, was what warranted the sudden attitude shift. It wasn't about the work. Oh, it's Joker. Ew, it's Joker. Oh, it was a woman who worked on Joker?
Imagine that.
Call me crazy, but as a pro, I'd rather my work be judged for its merit, which it was. No one really knew that it was a female because it didn't matter. It was based on merit and not my gender, race, sexual orientation. Basically, based on merit, not what's between my legs. What color my legs are. Who's between my legs?
Yeah, who is between your legs?
No one right now.
Okay, I'm just checking, just to make sure. Anyway, yeah, so that's the thing, right? Because this is kind of what we're seeing in comics and animation now, too, where, again, you know, we talk about identity politics and being used to lead, you know, with when you're talking about shows or comics or movies or whatever, like you have to like the show because XYZ type of person worked on it. I didn't even know the composer was a woman. I don't think it ever
matter.
It never came up in any discussions. That's like a lot of people don't realize. We're going to do a video eventually about Margaret Lesh, I think, who was a very powerful figure in animation, in the animation industry in the 80s and 90s.
Oh, fake news. It didn't happen until 5 years ago.
Fake news, right? Was a woman. Stan Lee actually answered to her.
It didn't happen because this only was invented 5 years ago. Have you not watched Tumblr and Twitter? I
know, right? You have to listen to the women in animation, but she actually was a powerful woman in animation, and she brought you a lot of your toxic masculine favorites like G.I. Joe, Transformers, Power Rangers. She might have been involved in Ninja Turtles, I'm not sure, but you know, again, it was never that big of a deal. It just
it wasn't.
It was about the product,
Imagine that.
So let's talk about this. Let's finally get into the Birds of Prey thing. Got this tweet notification earlier today, and these were the hot takes on Birds of Prey, and this might explain why so many people stayed away. When these are the people on Twitter talking about the movie. I just watched men get their asses beat by badass women for 2 hours straight. It was glorious. Hashtag Birds of Prey. Toxic masculinity is the villain in Birds of Prey. Say goodbye to your nuts, effers.
He would know.
Justine says, I just watched a bunch of badass women beat a bunch of dudes to an amazing soundtrack for an hour and a half. It was amazing. Go watch Birds of Prey. Didn't
I say this whole movie's basically about women beating up men?
But then the people who have actually seen it said, no, these people actually did not do the film any justice by putting tweets out like this, because that's not what the movie was actually about. Big thanks to Warner Brothers for letting me see Birds of Prey early. A righteous and colorful F you to toxic masculinity with some Shane Blackisms thrown in for good measure. That doesn't sound like a selling point for most people. It could have been like, it was a really fun superhero movie. It was good to see more Harley Quinn. Yeah, it's not like the comic book, but it's still a good movie. Those would help sell the movie.
Right, they would. This stuff is just going to turn people off.
And it did. It totally turned people off. And I did say here, the same people were probably complaining how Joker was glorifying toxic masculinity a few months earlier, and it's coming from the same studio. It's kind of like in Last Jedi, where Del Toro's character was talking about how the Resistance and the First Order were both getting their ships and their guns from the same place. So funny. Everybody's like, yeah, go Warner Brothers, stick it to the man. And 4 months ago, Warner Brothers, how dare you bring out Joker?
Exactly.
How very dare you? But this is what prompted the video. Birds of Prey, most of the negative reviews are from men.
Not true. Well, true, but not true. If you go to the comments too, it's interesting. They're talking about how, it's an all-female cast, everything else, and it deserves to be judged for both its strengths and weaknesses like any other piece of art. Well, it's concerning, though, is less than 10% negative reviews are from women. That is not true, because I actually went and looked. Well, there's more to it than what they're telling you. But the comments down here, other people mentioned it as well. Oh, there's 10 comments now. They said it could just be a bad movie.
No, that's not possible.
And then they're like, I gotta be honest, they don't care about the scores of critics, whatever numbers you gotta spout. People are capable of thinking themselves. They talk down here about they don't understand statistics. I'd warrant that I'm pretty sure numbers would back me up that most reviewers are men, so that hence there's more reviews by men than women, negative reviews. I went out and looked, guys. So I did a huge sampling. It took me a long time to do it.
She literally has spent all morning. She's got a sheet in front of her. She's got number counts of male and female reviewers, audience scores. Right?
It is, yeah. This is the audience, the verified audience score reviews. Okay, of them, the majority of them are male. Like there is, I would say, more than half are male reviews. Now, in those reviews, there are plenty of positive reviews. There are plenty of negative reviews. There are both in the men category. Then for women, it's about a little more than, well, I'd say about a little more than half the number equal to the men are women. And they were also between positive and negative reviews. And also, interestingly enough, there were some names that kept popping up repeatedly in like the same account. But there are also a lot of accounts that they're undetermined because their names were like, BR or L or whatever, and you don't know what gender. You have no idea what gender those people were.
Google, Google is a verified.
So of that, so you have all these men, and then you have about a little more than half the number of women as to men, and then a little less than the half number of these unspecified accounts. So you can't really make that claim that there are so many, men giving it bad reviews compared to women, because a lot of these accounts you don't know if they're male or female. You have no idea. And they were also giving it negative and positive reviews. So you cannot make that comment because you don't know. When more than half are male, and then the other ones that are left over are mostly about halfway to the good on women and a little less undetermined, you have no idea. And plus, it just shows that most of the reviews were done by men. So of course they're going to have more reviews either way that are done by men than women. There are more men reviewing the movie. This is how math works.
Oh God! So I mean, just grab any random paragraph from these kinds of articles. In the build-up to the film's release, there was a belief that Birds of Prey was somehow anti-men. Well,
no one knows where it began. We do.
When you've got people out there on Twitter saying stuff like this, and
when you have Ewan McGregor saying what he was saying, this is where it came from. It might not be true. It might be what they're saying. It says it's anti-men, but it's not. And that's probably true.
I've heard it wasn't really.
Yeah.
It just kind of was.
But that's where the notion came from. Like, where did this notion come from? Twitter?
Twitter. Yeah, Twitter and your celebrities running at the mouth. Just like so much damage is done on Twitter. I mean, again, look at comic books, look at anime, look at all the damage that's been done by letting your people run at the mouth on Twitter, and they're actually hurting a film that maybe wasn't that bad, but they're spinning it to be something that actually isn't.
And we're hearing people too that it wasn't. I mean, I don't know. I have not seen it. I'm not going to go see it because this isn't a movie I like. So if it was a movie I'd like, I'd definitely see it. But I don't like this kind of movie. So I'm not going. But what we're hearing is, you've heard a lot of mixed things, right?
Yeah, I've actually heard from people whose opinions I thought would be like, oh, this is a trash woke movie. They're actually like, no, the movie's actually not that bad. It's actually pretty decent. It's just that the run up to it with, again, all of these people on Twitter making the comments they're making, and then you've got McGregor talking about all the feminism in the film. They said they painted the picture of this movie as being anti-male and very, very woke, and it turned out it really wasn't. But just wasn't that good.
But beyond that, men aren't the only ones. You know, it's almost as though the movie industry is only for men. Women didn't show up either.
Yeah, I want to talk about that because this is really this is coming from Showbiz Cheat Sheet. Again, this is another article blaming men. And the headline is like, Birds of Prey, why do some men not like the movie? But they're saying that the reason people stayed away this weekend was because men started posting pictures of empty theaters.
I'm sure it wasn't all men who posted those pictures.
This is a paradox, because if people were legitimately interested in this movie, male or female, they would have come out in droves to go see it. And we knew there was a problem when the ticket pre-sales weren't there. And again, that had nothing to do with people posting empty theaters. The theaters were empty because people weren't interested in going. You've got your timeline backwards here.
Right,
This is not how this works.
And I'm sure there were women who posted empty theaters too. It wasn't just guys. I mean, I think it was mostly men who were at the theaters. And I mean, we mentioned too that you could take a picture of a theater section that might be empty where there might be people on the other side. But to be able to do that at all means that it wasn't a big turnout. And call me crazy, but when the population, they keep saying about how women are the majority of the moviegoers anymore, and that's the argument they keep banking on. Where were the women? If women make up the majority of moviegoers, how come women didn't have asses in the seats either? If it's all men's fault, and it's all because these guys posted naked, or these comments leading up to it, or the theaters being empty, where were the women?
They weren't interested.
Yeah, exactly.
They weren't interested. So this is, okay, so listen to this. So while it's true that Birds of Prey underperformed in theaters despite the strong reviews, fans of Birds of Prey pointed out that the tweet seemed like a targeted attempt to prove the movie is unsuccessful. Here, we can debunk this one right now. Honest question, anyone going into literally any male-led movie and taking pictures of the empty theaters to prove it's a flop? Because I've only seen people do it for Captain Marvel and Birds of Prey. Yes, Solo.
Yep.
There were some other male-led movies. Basically, anything that is hyped up to be this big deal and it turns out to not perform, people take... We took pictures of Solo. We were there opening night or the day after, and they were literally like...
Just a few people besides
like
us.
3 or 4 other people in the theater were like, man, this is dire.
Yeah. And it was like an opening. It was the day it opened because we went the day out. Maybe it was the next day. But it was within the first weekend. 24 hours.
Yeah, and and that theater had been completely full for both The Last Jedi and for Avengers Infinity War, and even Black Panther. Black Panther was full. I remember people coming in and standing to go see Black Panther.
They're trying to find a seat. They couldn't find one.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like it's a theater no one goes to. That wasn't the case at all.
Right. So yeah, and look, I mean, people say the reason people were posting pictures of Captain Marvel is because everybody was bragging about how much money it was making, and they're like, yeah, I'd believe it.
No, they were posting pictures because the ticket sales weren't lining up.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Same with what was the other one? They were saying the ticket sales. Was it Rise of Skywalker? They were saying the ticket sales were supposed to be this one way, and there were supposed to be all these tickets, but then all these tickets were kind of like there was no one there for these tickets. There was theaters that were sold out, but no one was in the seats. That's why I took pictures of that, because they were trying to prove that there was something fishy going on.
Yeah.
And because they're showing sold out theaters and there's nobody there.
Yeah, it wasn't to bash, because I remember we were covering that. It wasn't to bash Captain Marvel necessarily. It was like, why are all these theaters supposedly sold out when I'm sitting here opening night and there are rows and rows of empty seats?
Right.
Okay, so most of the sources for this article come from Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
The way people celebrate that Birds of Prey had a low opening is sickening. Kathy Yan and the cast really put care into this movie and have never once said this movie is only for women. Men are bad anyway. I hope the crew knows. Many of us love the movie. A lot of people, even people we didn't expect to like it, like the movie. That's not the issue.
If you're pissed about it, it's because of these people. They're putting that out there. So, you're blaming it. But look, it's a woman. It's a woman. And there's two dudes putting out there that, don't go see this movie. This is a great movie for watching men get their asses kicked. It's so feminist. If you're saying, and you're like, it's not really that way, I don't know where they're getting this idea from. They're getting this idea from the same place you're getting your stuff from. Twitter.
Yeah, so men complained about Birds of Prey before open. Actually, we didn't. We just said it's tracking low. We forgot it even came out. So there are a lot of issues here.
I'm not a man, but thank you.
Well, you're a man to me. Wait, no, that's not what I mean.
That's right. Dominate all the time.
You are dominant. But no, look, everybody was
spreading right now.
That's okay. People were talking about the movie in terms of the fact that it was tracking low. It was tracking low because the marketing was off. It was R-rated. They featured Harley Quinn, but in the movie that Harley Quinn really didn't have a place to be in. It had nothing to do with the comics. Harley Quinn now, there are a lot of younger female fans that would go see a PG-13 Harley Quinn movie.
Because their parents won't let them go.
So it's just, it was just a really poorly thought out all the way around. It was poorly thought out. And you know
what? It had nothing to do with sex appeal. I don't know where they keep getting this from.
Lack of sex appeal. I don't
know. Again, a lot of women didn't go see it either.
So here are more Twitter users. You know why Birds of Prey is going to bomb just like Charlie's Angels? They've removed any sex appeal these characters had to appeal to a female girl power audience instead of the core male comic book audience. Actually, most of the people posting on Twitter that I saw were men who went to go see the movie. I didn't see a lot of women. They literally don't know who they're making this movie for. Well, that is true because you alienated the comic book audience. I mean, like I said, you had Comic Book Girl 19, female comic book reviewer, over 500,000 subs on YouTube, and she's like, who the hell are these characters? I don't recognize any of them. That's what happens when you have Margot Robbie and the feminist director wanting to stop the male gaze, another one wrote on Twitter. Again, they made a big deal about that before the movie came out.
Right, you know what? It's not like, anybody complained about Joker before it came out and spent all their time campaigning to get people not to go see that movie. They actually actively the media went out and campaigned against it, told people they're bad people for going to see it. And everybody went and saw that one. Mostly because they're getting tired of people like this site and other sites telling them what they should and shouldn't like. Just, here's the movie. If you like it, go. If you don't like it, don't go. That's, you're allowed to like it. You're allowed not to like it. Why do some men not like this movie? Why? They're not allowed to not have an opinion about it unless it's glowing like yours? That's stupid.
Jerry Conway, DC Comics creator, says, I'm so disappointed by the Birds of Prey box office and what it says about the male audience for superhero films. It wasn't even based on the comics.
I'm confused. What difference does it make about the male audience when you're going out there saying it's for women or whatever and all this other stuff? Women didn't show up either. The men actually showed up to support it more than the women did.
Yeah, it's true. Here's my controversial take. Don't hate me. The movie didn't pull teenage boys because Margot Robbie didn't want Harley Quinn to be sexualized as she was in Suicide Squad.
Well, I don't blame her for that.
It didn't pull in teenage boys.
Didn't pull in teenage girls either.
Yeah, it didn't pull in anybody. It didn't pull in anybody.
You know what? Our son's a teenage boy. He had no desire to see it.
Nobody.
Because it's not his kind of movie. Same for me. It's not. I'm not seeing it because it's not a movie I know I'd like.
Our daughter loves Harley Quinn. She couldn't go see it because it was rated R.
She would have if I hadn't said, no, you're not going to see it.
Yeah, well, PG-13 Suicide Squad, we've got Harley Quinn pole dancing. And then when our daughter was like 9 or 10 years old, she's talking to her friends about Harley Quinn's pole dancing scenes, and then her one friend wants to be a pole dancer.
Well, that's how she found out about it. Because her friend was telling her about it.
What? I'm like, it's PG-13. Anyway, this is what happens when you market to kids and you drop a movie that's not kid-friendly.
It doesn't matter. What I'm saying is, my point is, they keep going about men and teenage women and teenage girls didn't go either. So when they're blaming it all on men. For an audience, in other articles, they're going on and on about how we need to make more movies like this because the audience is mostly female for theaters and moviegoers are mostly women. The men are the ones who showed up more. I can't even wrap my head around it. The mental gymnastics, necessary for this are just unbelievable.
Oh, here's an op-ed titled Birds of Prey hates men but wants their money. No wonder it's... Well, okay. This, though, is happening more and more. We're seeing movies where they're basically telling men to stay away maybe not the movie itself, but again, the peanut gallery on Twitter, the stars, the directors, whatever, they're literally telling men to stay away, and then they're crying when the movie doesn't make money.
Right, it's always men's fault. Even though I always count women. Always remember women. We have to listen to women, count women, women empowerment. Go girls, go girls, go girls. Unless the movie fails, and then suddenly it's not your fault, it's all men's fault, even though you didn't go either.
So they're talking about the movie getting rave reviews, and
where on Rotten Tomatoes?
Well, yeah.
Well, that just tells you right there all you need to know.
So wait a second. If men hate women in movies so much, how come the best reviewed DCEU movies are Aquaman, Shazam, Wonder Woman's even in the title, and Birds of Prey? Mm-hmm. You know, everything else has been, hasn't gotten very good reviews because men hate Wonder Woman.
Well, also, around that time is when a lot of the weirdness started in Rotten Tomatoes. They started shifting things. Was around that time Aquaman, Shazam, Wonder Woman, all that started coming out too.
Oh, God. Here's how they end it with another tweet. There literally are like 9 tweets. This whole article.
Every tweet you find, we can find many tweets that refute what you're saying. This is stupid. Don't ever go by Twitter as your source.
The fact that men are refusing to watch Birds of Prey because it's an all-women team and their clothes are not showing enough skin frustrates me. They will only see a movie with a female lead if she's sexualized, and that's disgusting. Wonder Woman wasn't really sexualized. Captain Marvel, they covered her up.
The fact that this narrative keeps spinning and it's blaming it on men, women didn't go either because women didn't care any more than men did, actually less than men did, makes me sick. And I find it ridiculous and insulting. So, right back at you, Twitter.
So, which is it then? Because, look,
that's my point.
They keep complaining that men won't go see female-led movies, but then we had Captain Marvel, and they were bragging about how much money Captain Marvel made. Obviously men went to go see Captain Marvel.
They did.
If that, so again, it's like, you want it, basically the movie didn't perform well for a variety of reasons, and I don't think all of them were related to sexism or whatever. People wanted to watch Birds of Prey that actually looked like Birds of Prey, not necessarily for the sex appeal, but they wanted recognizable comic book characters. But then you can't use the excuse that men won't go see female-led movies when we have, evidence to the contrary. Wonder Woman, Captain Marvel, Alita. Men will go see that. Mostly men from where I'm sitting went to go see Birds of Prey. Women weren't the ones going. I mean, some women went, obviously. But they keep saying it. Like I said, they keep making a big deal about how women are the box office is predominantly women. Women didn't show up, so it's actually even sorrier than the other excuses. Yeah, and this happened with Terminator. This happened with Charlie's Angels. This happened with Men in Black. And it's not because they're female-led movies. It's that the marketing and the social media buzz is pretty much contingent on telling men to stay home, or the product isn't that good. Now, again, we've heard this is actually pretty decent, but the marketing was terrible.
Yeah, I'm not going to go see it, so I can't tell you for sure. Yeah. So I am not going to pay money to see this movie.
But they were already preemptively blaming men weeks ago, before it even came out. Because it was tracking low.
Yeah, but the same people who yell about this kind of stuff were the ones who were bashing like Joker and stuff before it came out. And they hadn't seen it either. So, potato. I'm so sick of it.
But the point is, it's going to be in the theater, out of the theater pretty quickly. Sonic comes out next weekend. Sonic, from what we're hearing, is actually, the pre-sales are pretty good.
We're hearing that early reviews are pretty good, so...
Yeah, because we were kind of worried, because we were like, oh no, they have a review embargo on it until the day before, and people said, no, the buzz on Twitter's actually pretty good. And I don't think you're going to see reviews like this, like, Sonic's here just to kick men in the nuts with his giant sneakers.
Or kick women in the crotch with their giant sneakers, I mean...
Could you imagine a superhero movie if it was a team of all men going around and beating the shit out of women?
Yeah, you're not allowed to do that. Women are protected when they need to be, but they're fine on their own, but they must protect them.
Could you imagine that? Like, could you imagine if we flip these tweets around? It's like, yes, we've got...
I'll do it. I just watched women get their asses beat by badass men for 2 hours straight. It was glorious. I could do it because I'm a woman, so I'm going to do it. Toxic feminism is the villain in Birds of Prey. Say goodbye to your crotch, women. Or fuckers. I just watched a bunch of badass men beat a bunch of women to an amazing soundtrack for 1.5 hours. It was amazing.
Oh my god.
Big thanks to Warner Brothers for letting me see Birds of Prey early. A righteous and colorful FU to toxic feminism with some Shane Blackisms thrown in for good measure.
I mean, seriously, could you imagine that? Like, because the male action movies is all men beating the shit out of other men, but you can't have a movie where men beat the shit out of women.
Women are allowed to beat the shit out of men. It's fine.
But then if you have a movie where it's women beating the shit out of other women, then they say it's women on women violence.
Right.
You know? But I think a lot of people pay money to see women beat the shit out of each other.
And I think you pay a lot of money to watch women beat the shit out of each other in mud.
I was thinking Jell-O, but...
Jell-O, too. I mean, that was years ago. They even do that anymore?
I don't know.
Now the new thing, and I personally would never go see it, but if Kneon and a friend of ours would love to go see it, is their new thing is they're going to bring the midget wrestling.
You can't call it that.
That's what they call themselves.
They call themselves... Okay, well, if they call themselves that, small people wrestling, and they're going to have it at the local center...
And I'm just like, why?
I'm morbidly... Because I like to watch people beat the crap out of each other. And they don't have... I don't know. I used to go to WWF and WCW tapings back in the 90s. In fact, I have conversations with our friend Rammstein about all the...
Well, he's the one who wants to he wants to go watch it, too.
Yeah, and I used to watch people beat the crap out of each other. They used to give me signs... They give you signs to hold. But this is like, it's you know...
I used to think about the Jell-O and the mud wrestling, and all I kept thinking is you're going to get mud and Jell-O in places you really don't want to get mud and Jell-O. And I'm like, how do you get that out?
It's like Ghostbusters 2016. The slime goes everywhere.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, that can't be good. Like, you're wiping mud out days later. I'm just, anyway. Jell-O.
Anyway.
I bet you smell better.
Smells like strawberry banana.
That's right.
Alright, so we're going to wrap this one up.
Okay.
Birds of Prey. Yeah, didn't do very good. Lots of reasons. Not all of them are because men didn't go see it or men didn't like it.
Women didn't go see it. Women didn't like it either.
Yeah, it was marketing fail. I think it was just a huge marketing fail.
I think marketing was the biggest problem they had.
Yeah. And, seriously, guys.
Which we've said the entire time we thought it was marketing. But anyway.
These people don't help. So we're going to wrap it up.
Yep.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, and we'll talk later.
Bye.
Hey guys, thanks for watching Clownfish TV. Please consider supporting the channel. Go to clownfishsupport.com. That's clownfishsupport.com. And if you want to join our community, go to clownfishtalk.com. That's clownfishtalk.com. Please subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We will talk to you next time.